this wonderful song called Right Here, Right Now, inside the pink sheet inside your program. Woohoo!
Good morning. My name is Susan, for those of you who don't know me. And thank you to Gray for setting this up so I don't have to fool with it when I get up here. On behalf of Reverend Donna Maurer and the Board of Trustees, I'm privileged to welcome you to the Sonoran Desert Center for Spiritual Living. Whoever you are and wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you're truly welcome here. Here you will be validated, supported, and encouraged to be all that you are meant to be. Our vision statement is love in action every day in every way. We express this love by learning and living the principles of the science of mind. You'll find our declaration of principles on the back of your program. Please join me in reading them now. I believe there is an infinite intelligence operating throughout the universe. I believe this intelligence is only good. I believe this intelligence expresses as me. I believe through my conscious use of this power, I create my life as happy, healthy, and complete. And so it is. We have all kinds of new people here and returning people. And then there are regular folks like us who come all the time. If I did try to catch folks if it is your first time, and I have scribbles all over. We have Kay and Kathy who are here. Kay is there. Yeah. Thank you. And Kathy's over there. And then Connie and her mom, Nan, are here. Connie is one of those people from Washington State and the Seattle area. We love that area. So, and Nan is here in Green Valley, so let's give her special loves. Ann Cummins is back to be with us for a visit. I've always said, if you want to feel especially loved, go away for a while and come back here, and you will feel like you're $1 million. Okay, I think I found everyone who chose to be introduced. If not,
and I have a friend, Patty from Washington.
Please stay afterwards. We have cookies and coffee and juice and free grapefruit. Tim and Kate are, yes, I have that from North Carolina. There you are. If you saw all the scribbles on my program, you'd understand why I messed up just a little bit, but okay. I'd like to thank all of you who have assisted to make this service possible. I mean, we have people setting up chairs, we have people cleaning, we have people running the electronics and the music, and anyway, we thank everyone who helps make this a wonderful, homey service. So, please direct your attention to the announcements in your bulletin, and I'll try to read through my scribbles to see what I have here.
New here, and if you're visiting us today or returning after a long time, you are so welcome here. Thank you. The words for our Namaste song are inside the white first page of your program if you'd like to join along or read along with us. The God in me beholds the God in you. It is all for our greatest and highest good. The God in me beholds the God in you, and you and I are one. Namaste. The God in me beholds the God in you. It is all for our greatest and highest good. The God in me beholds the God in you, and you and I are one. Namaste.
Good morning. My name is Judy Robertson, for those of you who do not know me, and it's my pleasure to be your practitioner this morning. Nice to see you all here. Thanks for coming today. Thank you. Anyhow, the practitioners are the healing arm of this center, so if you have anything causing you any difficulty, you are very welcome to fill out a prayer card. They're on the table over there. Put them in the box, and we will be praying for you, the practitioners, this coming week. Now, my invocation today is one that Melinda Munch brought to me last year. I was in the intensive care at the hospital, and she so kindly brought me this invocation that I'm going to read to you today. So, let me light the candle. Get comfortable, close your eyes if you wish while I read this. Be still. Know that I am within you. Be still and know that every atom in your body is in tune with the perfect life. Be still and know that every activity of your physical being moves in accord with divine perfection. I am not caught in your body, yet I am your body, never limited by its actions, but I protect its actions by some divine intuition, by some inner whispering of your soul, by some light upon the path You have progressed. I am that light, that urge, that whisper, that voice. I am your real self, being the all-being. I am the being of all, from the smallest particle to the greatest, and from the lowest form to the highest intelligence, by Ernest Holmes. And let us affirm that now as we say together, and so it is. This talk today, I found recently, I'm moving, and I've been going through papers, sorting out and throwing away. And I wrote this about 7 years ago when I was practicing to be a practitioner, and it's entitled Spiritual Principle and Intuition. Thoughts are things. Watch what I'm thinking. The field is infinite. I am surrounded by an infinite good, and I can use all of it. It's available to as much as I'm able to embody this infinite good. The principle of metaphysics seems less tangible to the average person than does the principle of other sciences. All principles are intangible, but the world has not at large considered the principle of mental practice in the same light as the ones of life and action. The law must and does respond to everyone. This intelligent force and substance from which all things come, the ultimate essence, is invisible. But it's here, it's ready, and it's willing to take form with all things. If I believe it will work, it will. If I believe it won't work, it won't. Actually, the principle is directed by me, so it always does work. I have been blessed by divine experiences. My senses have been opened up to the power that is surrounding me. This spiritual practice, I believe, opens up these experiences through trust and through faith. Jesus said, quote, all things are possible if you believe, end quote. It is through the faith that you project into this practice of mental science that creates your life. Our standard is one of perfection. Quote, there is nothing to heal, only perfection to reveal, end quote. Ernest Holmes. Projection equals perception. This is chapter 21 in A Course in Miracles. The vision that you project out creates your reality. To use the vision of Christ is to know all is perfect. There is only God, the oneness. There is nothing to fix, change, or rearrange. This is our spiritual state. God is perfect, and the world is perfect, and so are we. This is a principle that you need to demonstrate. The invisible becomes visible only through your faith. True thought deals with first cause, and this science is a study of first cause. Spirit and the power back of creation. It is a thing itself. Quote, turn into the mind of God, which is free of doubt, end quote, Ernest Holmes. Intuition is God operating as a guide through man. You and I have the ability to just know without any reasoning because God knows intuitively. The absence of conditions of time and space bring all things into present focus. There is no limit to the subjective mind's power or perception. So why does it not keep the objective mind informed? Well, the answer is, if we were trained objectively to recognize indications that are given and to affect this training, it would. This is one of the principles of mental science. I realize that the subjective mind is my support. I follow my feelings. Our first impression or feeling on any subject is usually our correct intuition. Quote, do not let anyone discourage you by asking, why don't you walk on water? Jesus did, end quote, Ernest Holmes. In me, there is a pattern of perfection. It's at the center of my being. It has never known disease, no misfortune. My intellect senses this through my intuition. My imagination feels it by divine right, and my inward consciousness knows it through my faith. God within me knows by pure intuition, with any process or reasoning, with reference to external facts or any conditions. God is all-knowing. This exists at the center of my being. I have been a practitioner for many years, long before I ever heard the word. My conscious mind knew something was calling out to me. I have always drawn to me dear ones who needed a kind word or some kind of inspiration. Namaste. Thank you. And now I would take this candle as I hold the hot watch. This represents the light that will shine out into the world. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Well, that's what happens when you don't take a noisemaker when you walk through the door. That's right. What do I always say, Bruce? You own 2 of them, right? In this week's e-news, Reverend Donna brought forth this amazing, wonderful information about the spring equinox and the full moon, and I was inspired. Big time. And did anybody get a chance to go out and look at the full moon the past couple nights? Oh, aren't we lucky that we get the full moon multiple nights in the desert? Oh, gorgeous, gorgeous. So, having said that, there was a full moon chant that I found by a pagan composer named Marie Bruce, and she writes a lot of chants for, moon phases and seasons and all of those natural wonders that are celebrated in. So she had one verse, and it's about the full moon at night. And I said, we're talking about spring, we're talking about these new beginnings and fresh opportunities all around us. So I wrote additional verses for it that honor not only the turning of the seasons and the turning of the wheel to the spring, but also the 4 elements that are celebrated in pagan traditions. So we have the moon, the sun, the wind, the rain, all throughout Mother Earth. See the moon tonight smiling down on me as we cast our circle of infinity. When the moon shines bright, Goddess calls to me, and I dance in the circle of her love. Now you do have a part in my verses. You get a part. You get the very last line, and the very last line is, and we dance in the circle of love. Yeah? Yeah. Okay. And we dance in the circle of love. See the sun today smiling bright on us as we dance in the fire of eternal love. When the sun shines bright, Spirit calls to us, and we dance in the circle of love. Feel the breeze today cool upon our face as we dance with the butterflies and birds in grace. Spirit comes to us upon the wind, and we dance in the circle of love. Feel the rain fall softly upon our hearts. It the water, the seeds that the wind hath brought, as we grow our roots in the fertile ground to complete the circle of love. And we dance in the circle of love. And we dance in the circle of love. Namaste. And get ready for your noisemakers for our next song.
There you go. Well, good morning. And as Heather said, today is the first day of spring. It's a solar festival celebrated when the length of the day and the night are equal. And it happens twice a year.
at the vernal spring equinox and at the autumn equinox. And it's been celebrated. Heather mentioned that it's been celebrated by cultures throughout history who held festivals for their gods and goddesses at this time of the year. Now, Aphrodite from Cyprus, Hathor from Egypt, Ostara from Scandinavia. And today the pagans continue to celebrate the coming of spring. They attribute the changes that are going on in the world to an increase in the powers of their god and goddesses, the personifications of the great force that is at work in the world. At the time of the spring equinox, the god and goddess are often portrayed as the green man and Mother Earth. The green man is said to be born of Mother Earth in the depths of winter and to live through the rest of the year until he dies at Samhain. So we've begun the service with a chant, with a pagan chant, and we're going to end it with a pagan chant just to celebrate spring. So I wanted to give you a bit of a lead in. And by the way, if you didn't read the e-news, the full moon is called the worm moon, and it's because the worms this time of year, as the soil starts to warm, the worms begin to come up from the ground. So it's the full moon that precedes spring. So that's the worm moon. However, today I'm going to talk about something completely different. And my topic is roots and wings. And Dr. Jonas Salk said, good parents give their children roots and wings. Roots to know where home is, and wings to fly on their own. And I believe that our founder, Dr. Holmes, through the teaching of Science of Mind, gives us that. He gives us roots that are our spiritual home because they bring us back here. And our teaching reveals to us both the true nature and the depth of God's love. So that's our roots. And then he gives us wings to encourage us to explore the heights of our being as we embody and express this love in our world of affairs. I've told this story before, but it stuck with me. So several years ago, I was watching a televangelist who was putting down churches like ours. In a very sarcastic voice, he called us all those feel-good religions. And I thought, as opposed to what? A feel-bad religion? If given the choice, I'd rather have a feel-good one, wouldn't you? But we're not just a feel-good religion. An in-depth study of religious science goes way beyond the feel-good stuff. It's an exploration into ourselves at our very deepest level. And if that study is sincere, it brings a flood of understanding and compassion for ourselves and all the world as we truly begin to experience the connection we have with all of life. And yet, if we just touch the surface, it does seem like a feel-good religion. We talked a bit about that in class on Friday. Because we're told to think positive, that if we change our thinking, we can change our life. And that positive attitude does cause us to see our world of affairs differently. But without spiritual exploration, it often doesn't last. As one student said, I've had affirmations on my mirror all my life, and I'm still struggling with the same problems. And I think most of us can identify with that. We know stuff at an intellectual level, and we can talk about it with all of the right words and phrases. But it takes a true search for the intellectual knowledge to plop from the head to heart. And that takes a lifetime of study, maybe more than one. One time, an old preacher of the gospel and a distinguished actor were together at a social gathering. When the actor was asked to give a reading, he repeated, at the preacher's request, the 23rd Psalm. And he quoted it in such a way that it brought applause from everyone in the room. Then he invited the old preacher to repeat the same psalm. And when he finished, there was a hushed silence, and some even had tears in their eyes. And the actor said, I know the psalm, but that man knows the shepherd. It's easy to recite a psalm or a spiritual law, but the hard part is embodying what we know in our head to reach our heart so that we can actually know the shepherd. A young man was sitting on a rock totally out of breath with a shovel in his hand, and all around him were 2-foot holes he had dug, and another man wandered upon the scene and asked the man on the rock what he was doing. He said, I'm digging for water. A lot of us are workshop junkies. We try religious science and then we go to Unity. We find a meditation group and join it for a few weeks. There's a class on spiritual unfoldment and we sign up. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But without a true spiritual base, without those roots, we are like the man that is looking for water by digging 2-foot holes. I believe we need to dig that deep hole. If it's science of mind for you as it has been for me, then I'm going to find that source of the water of life. And that deep hole then provides a place for my roots to go deep, deep. And from that vantage point, from being grounded in our spiritual truth, then the workshops that we sign up for, the classes we take, the other religions or spiritualities that we explore will support and sustain that divine ground of being. I understand so many different religions because I understand my own. So I'd like for all of us to be richly grounded in the tenets of religious science, and I'd like for all of us to have deep roots so that we don't topple when life hits us hard, as it sometimes does. In what we believe, Ernest Holmes says, we believe in God, the living spirit, almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests itself through all creation. As a universal life force and intelligent energy running through everything, God or spirit is that presence that pervades all space. We don't believe in a God in the sky who keeps records of our good or bad behavior. We don't believe in a God that is a personality that will punish or reward us. Rather, we believe that we're immersed in and birthed from this intelligent energy. And at the core of this intelligent energy or universal life force is love. When I talk to, back up a minute. I used to think that the only difference between me and more mainstream religions was that I thought that Jesus was like a brother and not a savior, and that it was a small difference. But when I talked to my son-in-law, who is a fundamentalist minister, he said, we have one basic difference between us. We believe that we were born in sin, and you don't. And that was profound for me, because he really made me see why Jesus, to him, had to be bigger than life. If the belief is that we are born in sin, then we need a savior to get us out of it. So it's an important thing. And I have much more respect now for people who say, God is, Jesus is my only savior. But religious science believes that we are born from love. This loving potential is at the heart of our existence, so we don't have anything to be saved from. Yay! Yeah. What a revelation! So for us, Jesus is a way shore, as is Buddha or Lao Tzu or Meister Eckhart or other enlightened men and women throughout the ages. Ernest Holmes tells us that the road to self-discovery often calls for the clearing away of the underbrush of ignorance, fear, superstition, and a sense of isolation which has made us feel that we were unworthy and lost. In the divine providence of good, he says, salvation is unnecessary, but self-discovery is essential. We do not save that which was lost. We merely discover that which needs to be found. And in what we believe, he says, we believe that heaven is within us and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. So we don't believe in a physical heaven or hell, nor do we believe in a devil. However, as a state of mind, hell can appear very real. I doubt that any one of us here have not found ourselves in our own personal hell at some point in our lives. And mystics call this the dark night of the soul. And the road back from that dark night takes us deep into our own inner kingdom. It takes us beyond appearances to that place within us that has never been violated. I think Judy touched on that today. And from that place of peace and understanding, we bring heaven into the light of day. Dr. Holmes, who was incredibly profound, also had a great wit. And he said, when I lost hell, I lost the greatest asset I had. There's nowhere to send people who disagree with me. And this is bad. I miss it more than any of my infantile possessions, but I couldn't carry it along into adulthood because the place cooled off long ago. So Spirit gives us the tools, but we have to use them. When we take time to go deep into meditation, into that silence, we do find something more. We do find that different side of us. It's beyond language, but there's a feeling or interior awareness of where we unify with Spirit, where the connection is made, and we know that we're one with life. It's at this point that all of our fear and confusion dissipate because they have no ground to stand on, because we're touching that peace that passes all understanding. So these are some of the roots in which we're grounded, some of the tenets that we believe in. And I trust that we're all learning to use these tools every day, because no religion or religious teaching is worth its salt if it doesn't give its student the gift of creative expression through it. I've told this before too, but there's new people. A teacher who had gone to Africa with the Peace Corps received a beautiful seashell from a man whom she had been trying to assist. Knowing the ocean was 30 miles away from where he lives, and that there was no car on this remote village, she was a little confused. "Where did you find this?" she asked him. "Did a trader bring it to your village?" No, he said, and told her that he had walked to a town along the coast. She said, "You walked 30 miles to bring me a seashell? That would be 60 miles round trip. Thank you." "Yes," the man acknowledged. "Long walk, part of gift." So the gift of Spirit is our long walk. As a matter of fact, there is no destination. We are on this walk, and we're on it together. And we're in for a marvelous adventure. And I don't care whether you're 10 years old or pushing 100. It's an adventure to be a part of this idea that God and I are one, that everything as me is an expression of God. And in that way, I love you like a brother and a sister, because there's only one of us here. So, a lot of us are on the path and are finding the joy. I had this sweet comment a couple of weeks ago from one of the people that started coming pretty recently, maybe, and to our center. And she said, "Donna, my life has changed since I started coming here." as a minister, as a spiritual leader, I could not hear more beautiful words, because that's what it's all about. It's not here to condemn anybody or to condemn another religion. It's here that we are all here to find our true self and take that out into the world. The sages tell us that we must seek spiritual understanding as passionately as a man with his hair on fire seeks a pond. And from that passionate searching comes a knowingness that transcends and sends us to new heights. We find that the world is brighter because we are. We find that relationships are loving because we are. We find that we are more abundant because we know our source. We find that we are healthier because we are freed of the burdens of emotional trauma that sources many of our illnesses. We find the deep connection we have to life because we see all life as one. We are able to take risks and move beyond our comfort zones to try new things because we see that we are using the creative genius of the universe. We are freed of any sense of unworthiness because we realize that we are part of all that is worthy. So from our spiritual wings, from our spiritual roots, we take wings and we fly. We can express our own unique gifts and creativity without fear. Ernest Holmes says, we believe in our own soul, our own spirit, and our own destiny, for we understand that the life of all is God. It's you and it's me. It's the center. It's every tiny insect that flies. Be sure and look at the yellow flowers and the black butterflies and the beautiful moths that are all on this side of our wall. You can't go by that without knowing that there's a God. You just can't. So enjoy your day. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Since I'm too young to call it anything else, and I'm not a natural blonde, I'll call it a strawberry blonde moment. Since I am a natural redhead, this isn't natural, by the way. I know, right?
If it is, we'll sell you.
Surprise. I know. Just put me in the Smithsonian. All right. So, the congregational song for today sounds very, very, very much like our special music for today, and it's a combination of two different traditional chants. Okay, so one side of the room is going to sing the first half, and the second half of the room is going to sing the second half of the song. Go fig, right? Hey, so I'll teach it to you, and then you can stand whenever you wish. Okay? All right. So the first one is, we all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. Yeah? Let's do that verse again. And you can choose whichever verse you want. We don't have to split it half and half if you don't want. Here we go. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. Yeah. Then the second verse goes like this. Hoof and horn, all that dies shall be reborn. Corn and grain, all that falls shall rise again. Yeah? So you choose whichever one you'd like. Let's stand. Here we go. Let's start the first one first. Yeah. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. Where are my second verse, people? Here we go. Hoof and horn, all that dies shall be reborn. Corn and grain, all that falls shall rise again. Keep going. Hoof and horn, all that dies shall be reborn. Corn and grain, all that falls shall rise. Get ready, here we go. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a gust of rain flowing to the ocean. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain falling to the ocean. Let's do the second verse together. Here we go. Hoof and horn, all that dies shall be reborn. Corn and grain, all that falls shall rise again.
Thank you.
Cool idea, huh? Shall we do more of that or no? It's up to you.
Oh, yeah, I think we
Oh,
should.
yeah? All right.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I love chants like that. So. Okay. So it's time for our offering. It's a time where we share our generosity. So I ask that you join me in our offering affirmation on the left-hand side of your bulletin. My gift goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless all that it touches. It is evidence of my conviction that God is the source and substance of my supply. I share generously of my good, knowing that it returns to me, multiplied abundantly, and so it is.
Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This beautiful day. This beautiful day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This beautiful day. This beautiful day, my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My wonderful friends. My wonderful friends. And my health. Thank you for my health, Spirit. Thank you for my health. Thank you for my health, Spirit. Thank you for my health. My wonderful health. My wonderful health. My wealth. Thank you for my wealth, Spirit. Thank you for my wealth. Thank you for my wealth, Spirit. Thank you for my wealth. My wonderful wealth. Or bountiful, my bountiful wealth. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day.
And thank you for your incredible generosity and all the blessings that you give this center. Don't forget to grab some refreshments and stay for the meeting. I think you'll enjoy it. There's Anyway, it's open to everybody. If we do any voting, that would be for members only. So let's take a moment to close this portion out, and then we'll open up with the membership meeting that we were supposed to have last week. So I know right now that there is one mind, one life, one love, and that is God, Spirit, the Divine One, whatever we want to call it. But it is the power and presence that pulsates throughout the universe. It causes our hearts to beat. It causes the planets to rotate. And it keeps life in perfect balance. I know that all is well when I am aligned with that power and presence. And so in that sense right now, I speak my word for anyone who's experiencing any kind of a challenge. And I know the power of Spirit is right where that challenge is. And there is perfect resolution. Certainly hold the people of Ukraine in our hearts and our love and our prayers. And I do believe in miracles, and I know something in the way of a miracle is going to change the trajectory of that war. I give thanks for the opportunity to be here, to be part of my spiritual family, and to know that indeed we are a family, as Rosie says. And for that I am extremely grateful. So as we release these words to the law of mind and let it do its perfect work, I say thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. And the words to stand are in that pink, or on the pink page if you need them.
So let there